Hello, everybody, and welcome to Book It Vince, the Wrestling Dream Match podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Martin Bennett, and with me, as always, is the French Phenom, Anthony Hall.
The French Phenom.
Who is the French Phenom?
Rene Levesque.
Oh, you're close.
Oh, am I?
Who's another? Do you know another Renee in WWE?
Rene Dupree.
Yep, that's it. Rene
Really?
Dupree. Yep.
Yes.
Rene Dupree, the French Phenom.
Oui, oui. Oui.
I actually don't know if Rene Dupree was French Canadian or like real French.
There's only one way to find out.
I don't care enough. I don't care enough to spend time do that. I just saw the nickname and went, "That's a funny one." Also, I don't even know where Rene Dupree is nowadays. So
hey, Rene Dupree.
I just remember him and who's the other guy, and they were in La Resistance or whatever the tag team was.
Oh, right. Okay. So Rene Dupree is from Moncton, New Brunswick. Shout out Moncton, New Brunswick.
Oh, yeah, he is Canadian. Okay, cool.
He is a French Canadian.
Very cool. Well, there you go.
And I think he's wrestling in Japan right now.
That'd be cool.
It says he lives in Tokyo.
I can imagine so. I can imagine that. But hey, yeah. Rene Dupree, if you watch this episode,
shouts out to you.
Shout out to you.
Oh, you wrestle in Pro Wrestling Noah.
Shouts outs. That's what we're gonna say from now on. Shouts outs to you. Multiple shouts, multiple outs. Anyways, how are you doing, Anthony? Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Book It Vince. We got a quick one for you because a little inside baseball behind the scenes of how we do things here at Book It Vince. We usually record things in a bit of an advance because we got busy lives, we got day jobs, stuff to do. So it gives me time to edit and put things up, upload things. We were supposed to record an episode in person, actually, together, live, touchy, finally, after all this time. But then Anthony had a dental emergency.
Yeah, I woke up and my face was swollen and I had to go see an emergency dentist and I have to get one of my wisdom teeth taken out in the next little while. So we could not record on Thursday. And then yesterday we are recording this episode on May 31st of 2021, and May 30th, as you marks know, was Double or Nothing. And yesterday, Marty and I watched it on my patio with a projector set up, and
it was really fun. It was so great to like hang out again in person. Yes. I guess if anyone is super concerned listening to this or wondering, we've both have had our first injections of the vaccine.
They're tracking us, baby.
We both like literally never leave our houses except for work, and we like
the grocery store, baby.
Like so, yeah. We're cautious. We're fine. We're outside too. We're on the balcony the whole time, sitting apart from each other, but
socially distanced.
Past all that, Double or Nothing was a lot of fun.
What a great show.
We were watching it, and follow our Twitter at Book It Vince Pod because we were live tweeting the whole thing. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of fun. It was a great pay-per-view. It was really exciting. But there was one moment where we kind of looked at each other. We were looking at one of the rivalries, one of the matches, and we kind of thought like, I kind of really wish that they went with it in this direction. And based off of the title of the podcast, you can kind of already tell what exactly we're going to be doing today. But before we get into that,
wait 1 second, Marty. I thought when you were like, there was one moment that we both looked at each other and we thought, And then I thought you were going to talk about the moment that you laughed at for probably a solid 10 minutes during Stadium Stampede 2. Okay. Sammy G is walking through the arena, the backstage, and boom, single spotlight. Sean Spears sitting in the center of a room full of chairs.
Room full of chairs for the chairman was for the Canadian God was like the perfect moment. But how about this? We'll talk about our favorite moments from Double or Nothing in a second here. But before we get into that in today's episode, of course, if you like anything that we do here or like what we do here at Book Events, please follow the podcast, subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you get your podcast from. If this is your first episode, please go and check out our other Dream Match bookings. Review the podcast if you enjoy it. That helps more people get access to it and check it out. And yeah, thank you for enjoying. Let's, I guess, we'll just mention what our favorite moments from Double or Nothing were. This is going to be a very timely episode instead of an evergreen one, but I think it's just fun because it was a great show.
Yes.
You already mentioned, Stadium Stampede was ridiculous and awesome. And that shot of the lights, complete blackout, then all of a sudden a spotlight and it's Sean Spears sitting in a room full of chairs was just like, I lost my mind. That was so funny. That was such a great moment. I don't care what anyone says.
My favorite moment, however dastardly and heelish it was when in the triple threat for the AEW title, Kenny Omega getting Don Callis to toss him every single one of the belts to hit Pac with. He hit him with 4 belts, if I counted correctly. And then he faked he faked no selling an orange punch or orange punch crush, and then fucking rolled up Orange Cassidy and stole it from our boy. Stole it. He stole the chance for us to have a new champion. Yeah, so that was match. That was my favorite moment. However, dumb and over the top it was. Him being the belt collector and assaulting Pac with all of the belts was comical to me.
I guess also a special shout out to Sting looking amazing.
Oh, he can still go.
And Darby taking the nastiest bump of the night of having Ethan Page throw him from the ring across into the front row.
Yes.
That was nuts.
My God.
Darby Allin is insane.
Yeah. He takes the most ridiculous bumps. Oh my gosh. Also, if his leg would have hit the barricade a little weirder, he would have been dead. So it did kind of catch, but I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
And shouts out again, and more shouts outs to Canadian wrestlers.
Multiple outs.
All ego Ethan Page for absolutely launching him too. It was really on Ethan Page to with all of his might yeet Darby as far as he could yeet him. So
yeah, that was either he was going to hit the floor, he was going to land on the barricade, or he was going into the crowd.
Yeah.
And then also big shouts outs to the guys in the front row for catching him.
Yeah. Darby's brothers. Some of the talent that's appeared on Dark. One of the wrestlers who was in the crowd. I've seen him perform in Toronto, in Greektown before. Blackwood. He is a Buffalo indie wrestler. Cool. He's appeared several times on AEW Dark. So shouts out to him as well. I one time asked him if he knew where I could find a specific T-shirt, and it wasn't his. And he was like, "No, I don't know, man." And I was like, "Oh, sorry to bother you, sir."
Oh well.
I promise, if I see you in real life perform again, Mr. Blackwood, I will buy one of your t-shirts.
There you go. Hey, who knows? Might end up being on AEWshop.com.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe. But during one of the matches last night, specifically the Cody versus Anthony Ogogo match, I guess for us, like, I'm not going to go into a full review of the match, but I'd say that it was my least anticipated match. But obviously, Cody can make anyone look good. Anthony Ogogo performed very well for only having, one match in AEW prior. And, they said that he's been training for a while, which is great. But we turned to each other, and I don't remember. I think it was you that said it. I don't remember exactly which one of us like kind of sparked the idea, but we kind of sat there and went, imagine if, and we tweeted it out, imagine if Anthony Ogogo came out and Ivan Drago'd Cody Rhodes, just came out and just killed him in the middle of the ring. And Cody got squashed by like a professional boxer, just like Ivan Drago took out Apollo Creed in Rocky 4.
I was like, I'm not gonna reference which specific Rocky it is. I'm like, I don't fucking remember.
I don't know. They all sort of, the only ones that I know are 1, and then the rest just blur together.
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like we had just started coming up with this idea of like, yeah, what if he just like ruined him, and how big of a shocker would that be for Cody to just completely put over this new guy, and then what would happen afterwards. So that's what we're booking today.
Yeah. And also, like, it's not like unheard of for Cody to let somebody win, right? Like, if we think about the TNT title run, if you remember, our beloved and dearly departed fave Brody Lee, he crushed him. He crushed him. He squashed Cody in that match.
Yeah.
So like, especially if with like real life timing of things, I thought to myself, like, to me, I was trying to justify why Anthony Ogogo was going to win last night, because I was like, oh, okay, if he like Ivan Drago's Cody and like basically like beats him within an inch of his life, Cody can go away for a while. He can go on like maternal leave or paternal leave, and like be with Brandy as they welcome their beautiful princess to the world. And as he said in his promos, he could like, yeah, they could like be parents and not have to worry about like Cody wrestling and the in front of the camera things of AEW. Like, they can do all the behind the scenes stuff still. I thought it could be cool to build somebody up like that, and then yeah, Cody could just have a break. And I was like, okay, that makes sense to me in my brain. And that way, as Cody is away for a while, you can continue to build Ogogo up. And then in classic Cody AEW booking fashion, he could come back to a rousing fanfare of the fans, and then challenge Ogogo again. And then you could do like a comeback arc thing where he beats him. But like, we're not talking about that today. We're talking about if Ogogo just crushes Cody, and then what else happens after that?
Well, I mean, you think about it, like, Cody is, and this is where you start getting into like the psychology of wrestling, which is always so interesting, and like how the reasons why you book certain things in certain ways. And it's very interesting also looking back at the now 2 years AEW has been around, because sure, they had All In before that, but Double or Nothing was like the first big, like the first important show. and then Dynamite came afterwards. And then now we're here 2 years later and looking at, you know, how they've booked stuff. And we could do a whole discussion about looking at like their long-term booking and how, you know, even in loss, how they've really utilized, even in loss, people can still look strong. Mm-hmm. But I do think a big issue that AEW has had is a lot of people that they've quote unquote said are supposed to be like monsters have had too many losses.
Right.
Where like someone like Lance Archer, like I love watching Lance Archer. I think he's an incredible wrestler, but I think he has had too many unfortunate losses.
Yeah, he's lost a bunch.
And maybe it's a thing where like they just like he maybe wants to put over more people than just himself, and maybe it's eventually will be this thing where he like turns and has a big run on something. But yeah, I think with what could have happened is you had a full crowd. Imagine the heat of you. And also they had this whole buildup of like Cody doing his All-American promo. He's taking his dad's nickname for the night. Like everybody is there giving these USA chants and all this stuff.
It's just like Rocky. It's just like the movie when Apollo accepts the fight and he like comes out and he's dancing to that like Living in America song. He's wearing like the Uncle Sam suit and it's all like, whoa, America. I mean, obviously at that point in time that they're referencing in the movie, it's like, oh, America's great, Soviet Union bad. But like, yeah, I mean, it was set up to be like that, you know, like there are so many things, so many commonalities and similarities between this obviously fictional work and semi-fictional work of AEW. Where it's like it could have like mirrored it pretty well, like where it's like, oh yeah, like Cody is like so proud, he's doing this a super patriotic American thing, being like my family, my wife, my unborn child, oh yeah, my father's legacy, and putting like all of that on the line. And it's like, okay, as like cynical smarks, we're like, okay, obviously Cody is going over because he wouldn't be doing all this America stuff if he wasn't going to win.
It would have been a crazy impressive swerve.
Yes.
By AEW to just be like, ring the bell, and like Cody kind of is a little cocky and lets Ogogo like get like
the gut shot in.
Well, he did do the gut shot, and then like the match went on for 10 more minutes. That was the problem.
Like, because Cody like no sold it, right? Like because everybody else Ogogo had faced or had interacted with previously, took the gut shot and just like fell down and died. And Cody was like, oh.
If anything, what should have happened or what could have happened that would have made it like nuts is like Ogogo like uses the rules of wrestling to play dirty enough with boxing to just like give it to Cody to the point where it's like you're begging him to stop, where it's like maybe he gets him into the corner or something and he's giving him like headshots like on the forehead, and then somehow like we cut back and Cody is like just face full of blood, where it's like he's not, because in some of those other matches, like I forget what match it was. I think it was in the Stadium Stampede. There was like a good it was when Wardlow full out punched Hager in the face. Like you could have squared around the rules so it's like, and maybe like Cody gets like a little bit of a comeback, but then just like Ogogo like gut punches him, just gives him a full shot to the face.
Like a proper haymaker. Like I'm sure like let's be like conservative with it and be
a full on uppercut and Cody just flies back.
Yeah. Like let's be conservative with it and say like the real punches. Let's give Ogogo like 3 like real punches that Cody has to sell, and then the other ones being like the body shots that can be hidden a little bit. But like let's say there's like 3 big punches. Like we would do like a full closed fist like haymaker. We'd do like an uppercut, and then maybe like a left hook or something to put Cody like on the ground for good. Like it would have been awesome to like get some real like boxing punches in there, and like you said, like kind of using some rules of wrestling to give unfair advantages to someone who has these weapons on their hands. So and I think like Ogogo could be strong enough to just like when boxers go into the clinch to like stop each other from punching each other. Like if Ogogo had some inkling that he was like at a disadvantage, you could just like clench Cody and like just like kind of like whip him around and then like toss him into the corner. And like that would be like a really good way for him to use wrestling to stymie the momentum of somebody who is trying to make a comeback. And
you know how you know how Roman also is there a way that you can just, this is for the video people, is there a way that you can like hold down your webcam, because it's like it's just, it looks like you're in the middle of a seismic 8 like earthquake.
A seismic 8 earthquake.
I don't know. I don't know. A stage 5, a grade A. I don't know. What I was gonna say is, you know how Roman Reigns has been utilizing like when he really wants to put someone down, he's been utilizing like getting them onto either their back or or holding or pinning them down, and then just like laying in the forearms, like really like have him do that too. Because like, you know, he's a professional boxer, but now you get to utilize all this other, you know, this other move set, these other possibilities of how to take out an opponent. Like he could really just like totally lay into someone. And just even like what we were saying with like the clench, like, you know, bringing them in close, but like when that happens and they get to the ropes, the ref in boxing, the ref immediately like breaks them apart, but he's got that 5 count and and it's like, oh, I can utilize this. And he's just like giving them gut punches.
Yeah. He could just keep gut punching him.
Or then even like giving a big finisher would be like, obviously I think like the uppercut would have been a crazy finisher if they like, I know it's hard to fake it. And so like, that's the tricky bit, but like in our magical world of Book of Vince, I think that a full on uppercut that sends Cody flying backwards onto the ground unconscious would have been like the perfect end. But I mean, you could have even moments in there where he's like, punching, like doing liver punches.
Yeah.
And like, like, I just think you have a guy in Cody who can easily take a loss. You're building up a new guy. The rivalry hasn't been that long. It makes not just Ogogo look bad, like in terms of like a bad guy look powerful, but then also like QT, their team. This coming week, there's the bull rope match between Nick Comoroto versus Dustin. Then that would be the perfect chance for like, you have Nick Comoroto come out and look like a crazy, like hardcore wrestler where he just destroys Dustin on TV.
And if you're going with the stuff with like QT's group, like if you want to make them look strong, you give Ogogo the win, you give Nick Comoroto the win, and you let Aaron Solo, like, I don't know, like maybe not necessarily win, but like do some like fuck shit and like mess stuff up for people.
Well, you could make him be like the Weasel.
Yeah.
And like assist in some way. And then like QT looks like the big bad like boss of like Twisted and Mastermind. Yeah. But like, I think then for what would happen afterwards. So, okay, in our world, the bell rings.
Yeah.
Anthony Ogogo just destroys Cody. It's Simpsons level. It's Simpsons level. Stop. He's already dead.
Yeah, exactly. I think the first moment is very similar. Ogogo charges at Cody and hits him with a gut punch. Instead of Cody no-selling the gut punch, he takes it and he like immediately goes to the ground. And then Ogogo just does like the forearm, like boom. And like, then maybe we can like, he could just like throw Cody across the ring.
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, oh shit, like Cody is in trouble.
I want the crowd to be booing. I want the boos to be so loud. I want the commentary team to be so worried. I want the ref to like go for a stoppage, like try to go for a stoppage, but then like QT is like makes it so like that he's got to like, no, there's no TKO in this. He's got to
he's like let them fight. Yeah.
Or even then a cool an emotional spot would be like Ogogo is just like laying into Cody and like Arn goes to throw in the towel, but then QT comes up behind him and grabs the towel,
and
stops him from doing it and like holds him there to make him watch.
Yeah, and like holds his arms back like this,
or Solo comes out. And, helps QT do that, and just watches it, and then Cody's bleeding. Ogogo does the classic like super heel thing of like taking the blood and like putting it on him and stuff. And then I think it's I think then it's like how Brody Lee pinned Cody. In the most like, I remember, I forget who it was. I think it was Cody mentioned this after Brody Lee passed. It was that moment of when Brody pinned him. Brody said, "Is it okay if I don't grab your leg?" And Cody said, "Go for it," because like pinning someone without like pulling up the leg or like holding down their shoulders, just literally like pressing yourself over them is like the most disrespectful like way to pin someone, because you're saying like, I knocked them out enough that like I don't even have to like hold their body at all. Literally just like pressing them down, and it's got to be that. And then it's just like the loudest boos that you can hear. I don't think then that like Ogogo goes for the like grabs like the British flag or anything like that. I think it's just let the moment sit of like Ogogo just destroyed Cody, and everybody has to process what they just saw right now.
And I think like to make Cody bleed, we have to do a spot where like Cody is like trying to use the corner to like prop himself back up because he's obviously out of it. And then Ogogo just charges in and grabs his head and just keeps thrashing it on the corner. Like, just like boom, 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 boom.
I mean, I think you could have that, but I even think like you could go to like Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton level of like elbows to the forehead. Or even just straight up like grabbing his head and just punching directly into his head.
Yeah, just like
making it nasty.
Because like
we want to put over this dude as like the new big bad.
Yeah. And of course, we all know the Rhodes brothers just love to bleed. So like they're absolutely okay with blading or getting cut open. So it's like, we're pretty sick bastards this episode of Book It Vince, because we just want to see Cody just get absolutely murdered by this man. But
I mean, it's not that like I love Cody. I really do think that he's like a modern day genius when it comes to his promos, his interactions with the audience. Like there was that time where like we thought he was going to turn heel, and it's like he got the black hair and it was like, it's really, I don't know about that. And like, you really didn't know if what way he was going to go, but it was clear, like, no, this guy, it's going to take a lot and like a very specific storyline to like bring that out of him. Otherwise, like he's the most lovable, like liked dude in wrestling, and especially in AEW. And like, he's like, but I think because he has that, he can use that as an advantage too, like he has in the past, put over dudes who need that push just to be seen as like either an incredible wrestler that Cody respects and then we all respect in turn, or put someone over as like the big bad that we all need to fear, the locker room needs to fear. I mean, like Cody introduced Eddie Kingston to AEW. Like, and I don't mean like in the back or like said, oh yeah, we need to bring Eddie. Like Eddie came in to challenge Cody for the AEW or for the TNT championship in a street fight. And then instantly everybody was like, I love this dude. And now he's one of the favorites on the roster. But so, okay, what happens after Double or Nothing?
Okay, so if we go with like present timeline of like QT's guys getting built to be, you know, actually big monsters, like Nick Comoroto obviously wins the bull rope match and becomes crazy. Solo is a weasel man. And of course, Ogogo has just destroyed Cody. So logically, I think it's either cute. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I think Nick Comoroto wins, but then Ogogo comes out and like after the match, like lays out Dustin.
Yeah. Just more assault. And I think like, then maybe like Lee Johnson tries to like come out and help.
I don't think he tries to come out and help. I think then it's like referees and officials clearly like come out to like make sure that Dustin doesn't get like concussed or anything like that.
Right.
Or it like doesn't bleed.
Yeah.
Because believe me, I'm calling this right now. I'll bet anyone $50 that this Friday on Dynamite in a bull rope match, Dustin Rhodes is going to bleed. But
you could do the thing where like a bunch of refs come out or wrestlers and they just all are taking gut punches from Ogogo.
I think then this is a good chance to like maybe build up Lee Johnson as kind of like I'm here to defend the Rhodes family.
Right.
And it's a good way to then build up this like baby face that people love. And like get everybody on his side to do that. And like maybe he faces Aaron Solo on Elevation.
Yeah.
And he beats him there. And it's like beating him by the skin of his teeth or something. And he manages to like the other guys come in to try to beat him up and he like manages to get away really quickly. And then it's like, maybe then on Dynamite, it's like, I want you, Ogogo. And then QT is all like, I don't know, but he basically is like, oh, you can't, you don't have the, like, there's no reason for you to face Ogogo. And like, Comoroto steps up and then it's like this David versus Goliath sort of match. And that could build up and like, he could win that just by like, I think again, Solo, he like hits his finisher and pins him clean. Good. I think against Nick Comoroto, he like reverses something, gets the 1, 2, 3. Cool. Yeah. And then I think he gets utterly destroyed by Ogogo.
and I think another clever like Rocky parallel here is like we could get Arn, because since Arn isn't technically coaching Cody because Cody is on the shelf,
right?
Is he is coaching Lee Johnson, and that's how Lee Johnson gets that first win. Is that Arn is ringside with him, being like, "We believe in you, son. You're the torchbearer for the Nightmare family right now." And then yeah. So they get these two huge wins, one against Solo and the other one against Colorado, and then it's like, okay. This is the Rocky versus Ivan Drago match now, because Lee Johnson's our Rocky, and then he just loses.
He just gets destroyed.
He just loses.
No, you gotta have Ogogo like full on like just ragdolls him. It's just
we can repeat the uppercut spot that we're talking about doing in the Cody Ogogo match. Is like, maybe instead of the gut punch to begin, Lee Johnson runs in and he just takes one uppercut and just flies.
That'd be crazy. That'd be so good.
He's like motionless, like he just like does not move, and the ref is just like so confused and just starts counting like, why?
Oh,
2,
oh well.
3.
I was thinking like, I was just like thinking like, is there a way that you could have a finish like that? That's not like a last man standing match. Like, would it become Anthony Ogogo's thing where he just like knocks someone out and then just leaves them there laying and then tells the ref to go check on them? And like, the ref is like, they're out. Like, clearly they can't compete anymore.
Yeah, why not? If you can do that for submissions and have people be like passed out, then like, why can't you do that for like a regular match, right? So yeah, theoretically you could just be like, that's Ogogo's thing where he knocks them out and beats them so hard
and decides not to pin them, but instead just knocks them out.
Because he's just like so disgusted by them, by the sheer fact that they could not even stand up. They're not worth the pin. So he just like leaves, or he doesn't necessarily leave. He just like steps into the corner and maybe just like puts his arms up like this, and he just like is like, come on, man. And then the ref goes and does like the arm thing, like, the like picks up the arm as in like when the submissions are in, where it's like, oh, the arm drops, and then it's like, oh, the arm is back up, they're still okay. But this time they just pick up the arm, like Aubrey just picks up Lee Johnson's arm, and then just like it drops, and it's just like an instant like
yeah.
And she's like, no, ring the bell, it's over.
They stopped doing that. I noticed. Like, they stopped doing the whole like they like usually like pick it up and go for like 3.
Yeah.
Like, just to make sure. Now it's just straight up like they grab the arm, and if like it immediately goes limp, they just call it. Like, I think it was in the Cesaro versus Roman Reigns match where like they went for like the single drop, but then Cesaro just like grabbed the ref's arm.
Yeah.
They stopped doing the whole like it's basically like a 3 count but for a submission. I think then the transition is that you have Ogogo then go after either like clear. Because I think no matter what, I think the way you make a bad guy look bad is you have to have him face your favorite good guys. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's the most effective, like in the triple threat last night. Like, we could easily watch Omega versus Pac, but it's not as impactful. Unless
impactful.
I thought of it and I wasn't going to say it. But it's not as impactful without Orange Cassidy, because there's someone that you clearly want to cheer for. There's someone that you really, really want to be in there to win. And it's just like a problem I had with the Miro versus Lance Archer match is like, I like both dudes. I love both dudes, and I think they're both incredible wrestlers. But like, Lance is not necessarily like the baby face that, Darby Allin was or is. And And so it was a good match because it was two big dudes just like beating the crap out of each other, which is fun. And we do need that sometimes. But it's like to make me like, yeah, they made Miro look like a badass by destroying Darby Allin, which is what you need. And so I think for Ogogo to make Ogogo look like a viable threat, to make him look like a monster, you got to have him take out your favorite baby faces. And so, I mean, the first people that come to my mind, I mean, like, I think like you could build it up on like something like Elevation, or eventually when Rampage comes out, that would be a good place too. Take people's favorites, have him take out each member of Top Flight, or not Top Flight. I mean, you could do that too. Varsity Blondes,
Yes, I was just thinking that you have QT, like interrupt the Varsity Blondes after they get like a win or something like that, and be like, you're not facing real competition until you face guys like this. And then of course the Varsity Blondes, being baby faces, be like, yeah, we can handle any challenge. And then on like the next Dynamite or something, you have the Varsity Blondes take on Ogogo and like Solo, or Ogogo and Nick Camarado. And like, actually Ogogo and Solo would be good because you could have Solo start, and you could get like, Griff to get some offense, Brian Pillman to get some offense, but then it's like, okay, there's no, like, let's stop messing around. And Solo tags in Ogogo, and just instantly he just knocks out like
I think
Griff.
I think as Ogogo slowly starts moving up the chain, I think the bouts get a bit more like, whoever he's facing gets a little bit more offense. So like maybe Pillman Jr. like gets like a little bit in on Ogogo, but then instantly like turns around and then boom, one shot takes it out. Kind of, I mean, like Ogogo versus the Gun Club was a good example of that, where it was like, yeah, you get a little bit of offense in, but then it's that one punch and then you're out. And so, yeah, I think the Varsity Blondes would be good. I think then, I think the pinnacle of it of like that mid card level would be Orange Cassidy or Jungle Boy. I think like that's a place where you could get to where, like, I mean, hell, Jungle Boy won the Battle Royale, so he's number one contender now. He's got a shot at the title in a couple weeks against Kenny Omega. It could be this thing of that Ogogo doesn't think that Jungle Boy deserves like to be in that spotlight. And so then like you could have a really crazy match of like Marco steps up in front of Ogogo, and it's just like, if you want to get to him, you got to go through me. And then it's just like, and then maybe Marco like gets some really good offense in, because it's like Ogogo doesn't know how to fight a guy his size or his speed or everything. But then it's just like,
yeah,
he just could probably ruins Marco.
Yeah, he could probably get like a poison rana on him or something, and like a suicide dive. But he maybe like will just go to the top rope and like try to hit a splash on Ogogo and just jump right into an uppercut and just like eat it like, bah!
Yeah.
And then Jungle Boy doesn't even have a chance to get into the ring.
Yeah, I think then like a big match would be Ogogo versus Luchasaurus.
Yeah,
because then it's like, you have it would be like the first time that Ogogo like faces someone bigger than him. And so it's like you could have Luchasaurus like not no sell a punch, but like take a punch and like come back from it,
because he's a dinosaur.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And also it's like, and since like Luchasaurus is so agile and quick with his feet, it's kind of like feet versus fists in a way. So you're like, he's getting like big kicks in to like kind of stymie Ogogo's like punching offense, and he has the reach advantage, right? Like the tail whip, like Ogogo's not going to get close enough to be able to punch him, so he could like kick him a couple times, but there's going to be a slip up and big tree fall hard.
Exactly.
Once you get that one punch in, it's game over for Luchasaurus, and he just hits the ground, and that's it. And then we could set up, like a Go-Go versus Jungle Boy to put that like number one contendership on the line. And if we want to continue to build a Go-Go up, he has to beat Jungle Boy.
I think that if it was like I'm saying like I like we're saying these names because I think it's a great stepping stone to like build a bad guy. But I think at this point, like Jungle Boy is such like a baby face and such like is the person that everybody wants to see win. I think then it's not an upset. I don't think that Jungle Boy clearly like beats him, but I think he gets the better of him and outsmarts him or something like that.
Okay, I see what you mean. And here's how this can all lead back to something important and continue Ogogo's rise or a feud, is that Jungle Boy will win by maybe like getting a roll up or
sneaky pin.
Or a sneaky pin. And since Ogogo has previously taken out Marco Stunt and Luchasaurus, there isn't somebody to help him ringside. So QT and Solo and Comorado can be ringside for Ogogo. And when that win happens for Jungle Boy, it's like, oh my God, thank God he won. But then he just gets beat up by all these dudes. And this, of course, writes the perfect comeback.
Oh, okay.
The person that Ogogo has beat up at Double or Nothing in our fictional world, and Cody comes back, and he's the savior, and he comes in and he helps take out QT, take out Solo, take out Comorado, and then him and Jungle Boy both try to take out Ogogo together. And once they do, it's like he's holding up Jungle Boy and everybody is kind of backing up onto the Titantron, and you see Ogogo and Cody lock eyes, and you're like, oh, there's unfinished business here. A fresh Cody, he's alive, he's looking stronger than ever, versus this Ogogo who has had a meteoric rise in the time that Cody's been gone, and that sets up a pay-per-view match. Who knows who wins? That is another day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think like that is a very simple, like in our eyes, how we feel Anthony Ogogo should have been utilized, because again, like we said at the beginning, like it feels like they meant to build this sort of rivalry up in a certain way to like this, it just seems like it would have been the perfect opportunity to have Ogogo come out of it, out of this short rivalry as a big bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then carry on from there. But yeah, I mean, that's our opinion. That's what we think. And like, wrestling, stories in media and wrestling and movies and TV, like there's a lot of similarities, like just in terms of, a good guy versus bad guy story tale. But it's sort of like, you have this boxer come in, taking out the like favorite, just like pure good guy that you have, and you kind of look at it just from afar and you can kind of go, I mean, we could just do the Rocky thing, like, and then like everyone hated Ivan Drago, and because he literally killed
one of the most beloved characters. Yeah.
And we could just have him come in and do that. And like, it sets up this line of like storytelling that we could do with this character and this group, and then eventually get its comeuppance. And it just made us sit there last night and kind of go, oh man, just imagine if this happened. Thus them spawning this episode.
Imagine the JR commentary. Oh my God, I've never seen a man so incredibly athletic, savage like Anthony Ogogo.
I would imagine JR would be saying, the ref needs to put a stop to this. He's already dead.
You could be seriously injured if you don't stop it. Oh my God, we are the
Cody
impersonations.
The man has a family. The man has a family.
Oh, yeah. Anthony, stop this. Ogogo, stop this. QT, stop this. He's gonna have a newborn. He's gonna be a father. How's he gonna buy my barbecue sauce?
Alrighty, that was good. Well, I mean, yeah, let us know online, wherever you want to connect with us on the internet. Just let us know what result you would have wanted for Anthony Ogogo versus Cody. Would you want to have seen it happen the way that we said it, or is there a different finish that you would have wanted to see, or are you happy that Cody beat Ogogo? Let us know. Let us know your opinion. We'd love to hear it.
Also, it's very fun to just say the name Ogogo and to type it. Shouts out to him for the very cool design on his ring gear. That's like the Olympic rings, but it's just his name spelt out on his trunks.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So shouts out to him. It is literally every single time I go to type it, I have to double check myself because I'm like, is it literally just OGOGO? It's just like there needs to be a song of like a Gwen Stefani bananas BANANAS or how to spell Anthony Ogogo's name. But I mean, let's see what happens with this faction. And like, of course, his career is not dead in the water. It's just we would have really liked to see him come out on top last night.
But so what? Oh gosh, I just had a brain fart. Sorry. But yeah, just let us know what you think should have happened, how you would have booked it, etc. To close out the episode, as always, we have our questions of the week and our match recommendation. If you want to leave a question for us to answer, or even just, submitting a dream match that you want to see us book here on the podcast, you can connect with us online on Twitter, or you can submit your questions to our website, unknownerrorfilms.com/bookevents. And of course, as always, on our website, we have all of the episodes for you to listen, to watch, and also links to all of our match recommendations. This week, I think just a good question, because we were kind of considering what we were going to do this episode. And then Anthony came in with going, why don't we do the Anthony Ogogo, Ivan Drago booking that we talked about? But we were playing around with the idea of doing like a AEW retrospective episode, because they've been, it's 2 years now. How has their booking been? So I guess just an easy question for this week is, what has been your favorite and least favorite moment from the past, the history so far of AEW these past 2 years?
Wow. Ooh, favorite moments. Holy crow.
I think my favorite, and by favorite moment, I don't necessarily mean like a singular moment, or like, what do you think that AEW has done really well in terms of their booking? I think that Hangman Adam Page is the best booked character in wrestling today, aside from Roman Reigns. I think Hangman Adam Page, his story over these past 2 years has been perfect. You look back and you think about it. He was in the first ever title fight and he lost. And then he was sort of lost. He then teamed with Kenny. He became tag team champions. He then, develop the drunk cowboy, sad millennial storyline, but like he is so lovable. He is like, he's complex, but it's also so simple to grasp and follow along with. Like, I think that they have done an incredible job with Hangman.
Yeah. I think for me, maybe some of my favorite moments have been because of this group that had a big win last night.
If you're listening to the audio version and not watching the video version, Anthony has changed his background to the Inner Circle winning at Double or Nothing.
I've loved the Inner Circle all year, I think, and some of my favorite wrestlers belong to that group. I think they need to be utilized a bit more in outside the Inner Circle, being Santana and Ortiz. One of my favorite moments was just Santana or Ortiz just like yelling, "The best, the best, the best, the best." Other moments I really enjoyed, like, well, of course, like we talk about this match all the time, but it was like the Hangman and Omega versus the Bucks at Revolution. That was really, really amazing. I think Sting's debut was really cool. Hearing Tony Schiavone yell "It's Sting" was pretty awesome. I think, oh boy, there's so many sort of fun moments that we could talk about. Like Trent's mom, all of Trent's mom's storylines.
Oh, yeah. I think that's another big plus that AEW is, that like they know when to lean into the goof. Like they know there's a lot of critical people out there that will sit back and go like, oh, the dinner debonair was stupid, and oh, like Stadium Stampede was silly, but like wrestling isn't always serious. Wrestling needs to be goofy, and I think that AEW really understands like when to be silly, because they know that like there are fans or true fans out there that will appreciate getting to see these characters like have fun.
Yeah.
And also, like, there are characters who need to be serious all the time, and there's characters where you can play around with and do goofy stuff, like having Sue come and like having the best friends fight for Sue's honor, and like, there, and also just leaning into the goofy, like Orange Cassidy, like full on, just like supporting that character, knowing that people love him, that he's over with fans everywhere, and like not going away from it because it's strange or, you know, whatever. Like,
and I think another one of my favorite things that's not necessarily a moment, but just the rise of the Dark Order as this really entertaining faction and group has been like really fun to watch, because when I first saw them debut, when they had like the creepers and it was just like Stu and Uno, like I had no idea what the hell was going on. And my friend Brayden and I, who has also been watching AEW since the beginning, he was like, "Oh, I hate the Dark Order." But now we all can agree that, like, you know, the Dark Order is super over. And like, of course, a lot of that has to do with their leader, Brody Lee, and the work that he did when he was a part of the Dark Order. And when he passed, it was like, oh my God, like there's no way anybody's ever going to boo this group, because like,
no,
they're really great. And like, of course, this event is tied to the company forever and in the history of the group. So shouts out to Dark Order.
And just getting completely over on being the elite. Like, showcasing their comedy, being wacky, and just even when like they were heels with Brody Lee, Like they were still doing funny stuff. And that was the two hands of it, where it's like, yeah, on TV, they're very serious and they're ruthless, but then on Being the Elite, they can be goofy. And that's the having your cake and eating it too in that way, which is really cool. I think, like, just to quickly go on something that maybe AEW hasn't done super well. I think it's easy to look back and go, like, the women's division had a slow start. I think that now they're really picked up, and I think that they're really coming to their own after they've acquired different people, and it's sort of set the pace as to what their version of a women's division is and who's a part of it. I think they've really like grown and developed that. I will always say that I think a point that I wasn't happy with, and I wish they had done something different with, was FTR's tag team title reign.
Right.
Like, they came in, they beat Omega and Hangman. I know, like, it was all just to continue to build the story between Omega and Hangman, have them separate from them, and then kind of go through this change, and then get tied in with the Dark Order and Kenny to become heel and like all this stuff. But like, they only had the belts for like a month, and they only defended it once, and they lost it immediately to the Bucks. And
and it was like to set up, like, it almost like felt a little like selfish booking wise for the Bucks, because it was like to set up that dream match that everybody has been talking about for a long time, which was FTR versus the Bucks. And of course it was awesome, but like, yeah, to have FTR just kind of be the pawns to set that up was like, it's a little upsetting. Obviously they're doing stuff with the Pinnacle now, but they're sort of like the Santana and Ortiz, where it's like, I wish they were more a part of the division, and like, now that they're in a faction, it's gonna be a little bit difficult. And and like, yeah, you're right. Like, I wish we could have seen more of them dominate, and they did have really great matches. Like, they when they wrestled when the Revival wrestled, or the Revival, I keep doing it. When FTR wrestled like Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and when like, what was that match? Was it Dax versus, or no, was it Dax or Cash versus Jungle Boy? Like, that was a crazy match.
Mm-hmm.
So man, like, lots of good stuff, but definitely the company's not perfect. And if we say it's perfect, we are too much of marks for AEW, even though we already are pretty huge marks for AEW.
That's all right.
But it's been a great year of wrestling for them, and for them to continue to pump out good programming during the pandemic was it was definitely a lifesaver for us and for the podcast, because we had stuff to talk about.
And I think that they handled it very well, and they did a great job. Obviously, like, you know, there probably will be some WWE super fanboys that will be like, you're just marking out for AEW. It's like, you know, they were a breath of fresh air of, you know, after watching WWE for so long and kind of getting bored of it. And so, but also I think that WWE has profited off of the fact that now they have competition. Now they are being compared to something. And also, I also just think that they're two completely different products. And so just enjoy one or the other, or both if you want. So,
yeah. And I don't want to attribute AEW existing for WWE, like, you know, being better. But if we look at recent history, like, SmackDown has been being booked pretty well. And it's like, it's pretty entertaining. And of course, like, I really, really, really like NXT, and I always have. And I'm always going to say that NXT is the number one WWE show. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, it's great to have good wrestling, and WWE is good, is awesome still. There's really awesome performers that I still like that are in the WWE.
That's the thing I say every single week when I force myself to sit and watch Raw. is like, I watch
Notice
Raw.
how I didn't mention Raw? That's the only WWE programming that is consistently faltering for me. That is like, it has not improved. It's getting worse.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, there's a lot of wrestlers that I love and support and want to support in WWE. And like, that's why I watch, because I want to continue to watch their careers and watch them do have good matches. And there are good matches, but you know, let's not turn this into a why WWE sucks moment. But it's just like, yeah, it's just, I mean, you know, watch what you want, enjoy what you want, but don't sit there and say that others should feel bad because they enjoy this or enjoy that. I will question anyone who sits and says that Raw is the best wrestling show. I want to make sure that they are healthy and that they didn't recently have a head injury. But,
I want you to drink some water, reevaluate your life a little bit. Think to yourself, do I really like wrestling?
Yeah. But, you know, let us know what your favorite or least favorite moments from the past 2 years of AEW have been. And I guess for a match recommendation, it's my turn this week. And I will, you know what, I'll recommend, I'll have to try to find a link to it somewhere, but I will recommend the Cody versus Brody Lee match where Brody won the TNT title, squashed. I don't know if we've recommended that match before in the past or not, but like, since we were kind of talking about this, like building up a big bad guy, like go watch that, because it was like the perfect example of it. And also it's just a great match. So,
yeah, you can also alternatively watch Miro beat Darby as well, because that is also a good way of building a big bad. Is like Miro, it was a pretty decent match. It wasn't necessarily a squash, but like Miro looked really strong. And when you submit somebody and just make them fade away into the nether realms, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, go check it out. I will call it for this episode. Thank you very much for listening and or watching it. As always, you know, please feel free to follow us on Twitter at Book Events Pod. Interact with us. We love hearing dream matches. We love hearing other people's thoughts, having fun conversations online about wrestling. So yeah, come follow us on Twitter. You can also follow everything that we do here at Unknown Air by following us online at UE_films. You can follow myself on Twitter, Instagram at Barton_Minute. You can follow Mr. Anthony Hall
at Hall and Jokes on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening or watching this episode of Book It, Vince. Please stay safe out there. Go watch some wrestling, and we will catch you next time.
Long live the inner circle, baby!